kind of busy on Saturday. So I thought, why not do a live today and share something which is really holiday themed, easy to paint, very beginner friendly, using the Derwent Inktense block. Now, I have done a complete review on Derwent Inktense blocks, why I love them, how you can use them, and all the things about how they are different from watercolors and how you can use them as a mixed media medium and all that stuff. You can check that out. I'll share the link in the description if you're watching this later. And so today, what am I going to be doing? I'm going to be painting a Christmas theme. I can use them as cards. It is a beginner friendly, what do you say, a session where anybody can paint this and all that stuff. So I'm going to be using the Derwent Inktense blocks as I've mentioned earlier. I'm going to be using watercolor paper. You could use mixed media paper, you could use acrylic paper. And the basic thing is making two cards out of this one 5x7. Just an easy stuff, okay? I'll be using a pencil to sketch out. You could use a pen if you like that pen and ink kind of a thing. And I'm going to be using a water brush. Now, also the links for these products are in the description. You can hop onto my Amazon page where I share all the stuff that I use. And it would be really helpful for you to, just have everything cataloged in one place if you want to just check out the products. So this is a water brush pen. Now it's different from a normal brush. You get them in different sizes and shapes. Now this is a round one. I also have a flat brush, but today I'm going to be using the round one. You can do a lot of things with these brushes. This is a normal brush. This brush is like always filled with water. You can fill in water. You could fill in watercolors. You could fill in acrylic inks. Now, the sky is the limit for your creativity with these brushes, and I really love them, especially when I'm using something like a watercolor medium like Inktense blocks or watercolors or gouache. Also, I use them with gouache too. So you can try that out. So this, as I said, is going to be a totally beginner friendly thing. It's not going to be too brush strokes and value studies or anything of that sort. It's kind of making a Christmas themed card. That's it. Very simple. So let's go ahead. So here I'm going to be starting with the Christmas tree. That's what I was thinking. Let's go ahead with the Christmas tree. And for the Christmas tree, no drawing needed. We're going to be going on ahead without the drawing. Now, I'm just opening this. Now, this comes in a set of quite a few. You have even 72. Now, mine is a really loved set because you can see the state they are in. And I've really used it a lot. And I would another suggestion, yeah. When you come for my lives, you get a lot of tips that which would normally not be in my long videos. That is because when I'm actually painting, I remember so many things. Okay, I should also mention this. So always keep a kind of a sponge or a sponge around. This is great when you want to just keep it, and it's a damp one, so you want to dampen your brush, not make it too wet. So this really helps. Or even for cleaning, I really like this thing. This is a really cool addition in my studio desk, on my studio desk. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead with the Christmas tree. So for the Christmas tree, we're not doing any sketching. It's going to be a very small thing. Okay, first thing first, I think I am going to go ahead and just sketch out my Christmas tree with this brush and water. Now that's not going to be visible to you over here. I'm really sorry about that, but it's going to be a really cool thing. And I'll show you what I mean on another paper, maybe. Now that's not visible, but I'd just like to show you this. Yeah. Okay. Kind of just giving it that look. Now, what we usually make a mistake. Now, just let me get back. As I said, the live sessions are really full of lot of information. Now, as kids, let's keep this aside. I'll wet it again. Don't worry about that. As kids, Christmas trees were like, and that's good. That's not bad. But let's, give it a more natural look. Okay, looks more natural. So that's how we're going to be shifting, because as I said, this is a beginner friendly, or even you could sit and do it with your kids, make Christmas cards with your kids. So just wetting it again. And the paper, since it's watercolor paper, it's still quite wet. It hasn't dried. Now I haven't filled anything in this because I'm just using it like a normal brush, but you could fill in water, you could fill in inks as I previously mentioned. And this is not perfect. This is just, as you can see, you can have kind of a little shadow of the water or the glistening water. Now I'm going to go in with the lightest. That is the yellow. And I'm going to be just adding it. You can see it really spreads like watercolor. Okay. So we have this. Going to wash this off, or not wash it off. Why not? Just taking in this green. Really loading this brush, as you can see. And now just adding it in certain spots and maybe some extras. Now this is just a downward stroke that I'm doing. Just, how do I show it? Just in this direction, okay? We can already see that the tree is, sorry about that, is forming over here. That's a great thing. Now going in with some more color. Now I usually, tend to forget how the color looks, and let's just keep this paper over here so that I can keep checking it. So what do? I try and see and I haven't yet washed my brush. Do I want this green? No. Do I want this green? No, I don't want that green too. Do I want this green? Yeah, I want this. What about this? Yeah, they both are quite good. This is kind of lighter, so I'll go with this one first and then this. Also, I think I'll take in a little bit of the blue too. Oh yes, that's a beautiful blue. Fine. So yeah, that's the colors. I'm going to be going with this one. I'm going to go with this one and definitely this one. So these two are kind of nice colors that could go ahead. So let's take this blue. And now just I don't want to cover up everything. Like I didn't want to cover up all the yellows. I think I'm going again overboard with this blue. Yeah. So we still have a lot of colors visible over here. So that's kind of nice. If you feel that, somewhere along the line, there are quite harsh lines, you can always cover that up and go ahead, because it's going to stay wet for some time. Now I'm going in with this green, as I mentioned, the dark green. And we are kind of now. I'm going to be sticking to one side with the darks. And now I'm going in with a little, I'm going a little out of whatever I had put in, like I want them to have a little harsh lines in some places. And I don't want it to look like a perfect, And maybe some more of that color. Maybe at this end. And you can see that it's quite juicy and wet still. We've got quite a nice tree. Now just get a bit of the background. We could wait for this to dry now, or we could go ahead and, go with the background. Now another thing I thought would be nice to do is get in snow over here. So I'm going to be using a masking tape. Now how will I use this masking tape? I'm going to be going ahead and just seeing, okay, I need this much. So cutting it off. And I'm going to be using it in a very nice way. That is, I am going to be going in and tearing it. Okay. And I'm going to be using this later. So just keeping it around over here. And this one, I'm going to be just covering it over here. Okay. So that's going to be the snow. And that's going to be the sky. Now I am not going to be covering everything because I want to keep a little bit of that white showing. So what I'm going to be doing is going in with a really light sky blue. But no, maybe I'll first just add a bit of water to cover this. And we're going to be, oh god, there's still a lot of white, green in it. We need to wash it off. And if you make a mistake, you can always wipe it off. So just clean that brush because there was a lot of green in it. And I'm like, yeah, the green is out. Now just taking water, I am going to be covering this. And you can see that I'm not going completely to the edge. I hope that's visible. Oops, that was too much of water. Let's just spread it. As I said, this is a water pen. And the best part about Derwent, now I want to mention this about Derwent. You'll check it out in my video too. Now Derwent, when it dries, it's kind of permanent. So no reactivation. So that's really good if you want to avoid muddy colors and you're not such an expert. Okay, so we have this kind of the sky area. Now it was still wet here, so you can see some bleeding, but that's okay, I guess. It's a Christmas card, not a masterpiece. Fine. So we can go ahead with that. And I'm going to be taking this blue. Yeah, I like that blue. Should I go ahead with a darker blue? That's nice too. But then the green, we could, just dilute it, I guess. Let's mix. So it has these palette wells where you could even mix color, add in some water. Check it out. Yeah. Maybe add in a bit of this blue. Yeah, that's also nice. So if you want to do mixing, you have a palette where you could do the mixing. Sorry, that was outside. And I'm just checking, yeah, do I want it dark or do I want it diluted? So I want it diluted. I'm putting in a lot of water. If I want it darker, maybe I'll just add in more color. But for now, this will do. So we're going ahead and letting this magic happen. No perfection here. Now I just thought, why not add some violet also? Again, going in with the blue. Now you can see how when it's watery, it has a different kind of, and we're going to be also using a bit of the gouache, okay, over here. If there's any hard edges, you just need to go ahead, take a lot of water, and yeah. Now you know what, also I don't want this hard edge coming, so I am going to be removing that hard edge over there. Can you see that? Kinds of blurs into the background. That's a great way to do it. And I want that, you know, that dotty kind of a look. I don't know how else to explain that. Maybe just a little bit of that. So I guess I didn't put enough water over here. It's kind of dry. Okay, so we have this. Again, I don't want that edge to, you know, be looking like this. That's, I mean, the best way to get the edge out. Okay. Now you could go ahead and add in some more color to just darken a few areas. Okay. And over here too. Maybe at the base too, because we're going to be having the snow. So that's going to be white. And that just adds in so much more. You could also go ahead with the sponge. I'm liking that effect. Maybe some violet. So let me just tell you, I just like to make fun projects over here on the live session for everyone to follow. Now we are quite done with this. And maybe we should also come here, but I think before that, let's get the gouache out. So I'm going to be using the Bruce Throw gouache. It's titanium white. And I'm going to get a bit out on the palette over here. And now what I'm going to be doing is kind of diluting it. Now whenever I'm using gouache, I don't use tap water to dilute it, because you know gouache sometimes there's mold formation and all that stuff. So I usually use the filtered distilled water. I put it in a bottle and just spray that. Now what we're going to be having is a good amount of diluted white. Now you could go ahead with a larger brush too for some fun things, but I would think of going ahead with just this same brush because I want to keep it limited, to minimum of art supplies used over here. And we are going to go in and do a bit of a tap tap of splattering. And this is going to look good. It's already looking good, okay? Wash that off. And wash it off completely. Wipe that brush because we don't want any white coming into our painting. And let's remove this. Throw that away. Add in some shadows at the base. That just helps. And we will add something out here too, but let's keep it at that. And I feel the tree it's quite gluey, but it needs a little more darks. So just adding a few more darks. Yeah, now see, automatically when you add a bit more of darks, we could keep this. Now, if you liked it like the way it was previously, I think don't add too much darks. But it's completely your choice. Yeah. I like it a bit. I mean, having a bit of some. Now, going with smaller strokes over here. Just very light ones. Yeah. So I'm kind of liking this. You could limit yourself to the previous ones. Maybe we could also add in a star. So that would be nice. Cleaning the brush really well, drying it on the sponge, taking in the yellow. Now the only complaint I have with the 24 set is there aren't too much of a yellow shades over here. Okay, so that's the only thing because that's the only yellow they have. If I want a lighter yellow, they don't have. So you have to go in with a bigger set if you want more yellow. Just adding in a shadow here. Yeah. And I think I'm done with this. Maybe just a bit of the shadow. Yep. Now let's write something over here. I'll get to the writing part, I guess, later on. Let's come to the second one. Now for the second one, I thought let's go in with a snowman. So that's going to be like really little bit of the painting stuff. And for this, I'm going to be using the tape too. But before that, let's do the drawing part. So for this, we're going to be going ahead and we have one small circle. We're going to give him a Santa hat. That would be really nice, I guess. Yeah, that will be nice. A Santa hat. carrot. And this is not supposed to be perfect. It could be as wonky as you want. Let's give it a nice scarf too. Yeah, I think we can give it a scarf. And it's wrapped around it. 3 buttons. Now the eyes. Yeah, that's kind of cool. Now for the tape, we are gonna go ahead and tape it. Okay. Yeah, I like it. Yeah, this is kind of cool. And let's start with the painting. So for the painting, again, here we went with the tree first. Over here, we're going to go in with the background first, okay? Because I really, really want the white of the snowman to be shining. So what are we going to do is we're going to be mixing, again, a really nice dark blue. And yeah, so we're going to go in with this. This is the most used blue. I think it's a lovely shade. And yeah, can you see that? It's still not that dark. We need more color, more pigment. Yeah, now that's quite nice. And I think I'll mix in a violet too. Why not? So let's have a violet over here. Quite decent. Now just going to take a brush. Now we're going to be doing the same thing that we did here, but it's going to be like, first we're going ahead. Now you can see my brush is not that clean. I didn't wipe it on a cloth. So you have the water, but I quite need this. So, and now leaving some gaps. Just, so I think that's a good way to, just show, okay, that I don't want it coming over here. Leaving it quite untidy on the background, okay? Now going in with the two mixes, we could, just take a dry brush and remove this. Yeah, because I don't want anything coming in that white. So I hope that gets it out. Let's just hope. Now we have these two mixes and we're going to be just that light is messing up. Okay. We could go ahead and shape it out too. Maybe just adding in the violet. Going ahead again with the blue. And you see that it quite spreads like watercolor. And I'm liking that the way it's just having a mind of its own, spreading in directions. And I definitely want it really dark very close to the snowman, because that's how we're going to be having, a kind of difference in the values. Kind of dried over there. Let's have some more. It's drying pretty fast now, or maybe I didn't put enough water. So we're kind of having a nice dark background, whereas here we had it quite subdued. But here I'm going for all darks. And there is some amount of liquid collected over here. We don't want that to happen. So again, we're going to be taking a dry brush and just removing that, because that will leave a really harsh line. Okay, so we got that, and we need for this to dry. We could remove the tape if we want. Yep. You can see there is a kind of a harsh line over there, but I guess that's not so obvious. So we could leave it at that. And till this dries off a bit, we could, write down. Now I did this trad easel challenge where I do have some kind of letterings that I have practiced. So let's use something from here. I'll just look on the side and then I'll decide which one I'm doing. Okay. I think I'm going to go with this one. So what we're going to be doing is taking a 0.5 pen and we're going to write over here. So we're going to be like, and we're going to be darkening one side. Now since you've darkened over this side, you have to darken not going into, oh, it has to be like that perfect calligraphy. No, it should look handwritten, I feel. And okay, now we could write, I'm not going to go in with the really long one. And keeping it really simple and quick. Just added it so that while it dries, We're not just idling away. Yep, that was it. Kind of went really wonky, but I guess it's okay. So let's get back to this. It's kind of dry, and now let's just add some fun elements to make it look like a snowman. So going in with, now I just got this brush out, it's a dry one. So I thought, why not go ahead and use this? So maybe for, oh, this is like too dry. I think I'll go back to my brush, just wash it really well and check if it has any water or any color in it. Yeah, now that's clean. So I'm going in with the orange and kind of leaving a small white to show that there is light coming on it. That's it. Very simple. Again, washing, cleaning, going in with red for the cap. I could add some water if I want. But it's going to be more like an illustration. Okay. Just adding some darks. Yeah. So maybe just adding some darks over here. And we could also blend it out a bit. Yeah. So we got the hat done in just like a teeny weeny bit. Yeah, kind of done with that. For the scarf, I thought let's do a mix of this light green. Just add some good color. So I'm going in with this green. Yeah. So let's just make these zigzag alternate lines. See? So easy. Maybe go in with some yellow too. In between. Already it's like kind of really looking sassy. Maybe just add in some darks now. I mean, we don't want it to look totally flat. And suppose you feel that it's too wet, always go ahead on that sponge and it's got like, okay, and I'm going to be showing you what else you can do. Just take plain water, blend it a bit. Yeah. Some more drama into it without looking really obvious. Now just, squeeze out all that water because we're going in with black. And just, still there's quite a lot of water. Ooh, that's dark. Maybe. Yep. Now we did have that violet and the blue now. Let's really dilute it with water. Because we want some kind of shadow, so maybe also take in some of this yellow ochre in it and see how that looks. Does that look like shadow? Add in more yellow ochre. And yeah, I kind of like that. See, very light, very subtle shadow. So I just took that yellow ochre, I took that violet, mixed it and really diluted it. So to have some kind of shadows, very light. No, that doesn't look light at all. Oh my god. Yeah, that still doesn't look light. Let's wipe it off. That looks light. Okay. Still quite dark. Let's just dilute it a bit more with a clean. Yeah, that's better. Now I'm going to be just wiping this and then adding. Just a touch. Wiping it on the sponge. So it like removes all that color. You just have, I mean, I don't know whether it's visible on this, but it is quite visible to me over here. Take some water. Yeah, we do have something really nice. And we have that white, which we had used for this. We could have some kind of splatters over here too. Or you could go in with dots. You want to go in with dots, you could go in with dots. Another thing you could do is, just wet the area. And you can see the color doesn't spread because it's Derwent Inktense Blocks and not watercolor paper. And we could go in with kind of, yeah. The more the water, the more imperfect that thing is going to look. We're kind of liking this. It's going to spread out a bit because of the water, so it's not going to be like having any harsh lines. That's it. And you could write this is a 0.5, yeah. You could write Merry Christmas. Okay. And you have 2 cards ready. Okay. I hope you enjoyed this session. This was a really fun session, for me at least, and I had a great time doing them. Very simple, totally beginner friendly. You don't need a lot of things, just a limited color palette, and you could have fun. And you could make your own handmade cards and send them to your friends and relatives. Even you could do it as a small project with your family, kids around, sitting in and doing something. This is a great way to have, some kind of fun. Not my usual style of painting, but I did have a lot of fun. So that's all for today, and goodbye. Have a great weekend. Enjoy yourself. Once again, Merry Christmas to everybody. And I'll see you soon for more art magic on Conversations with Canvas on a Saturday. Bye bye. Take care. Love you. See ya.